welcome back to Study on Spotlight, and today we have two special guests from Gold Coast. So it's Katrina from the Southport School and Caitlin from St. Hilda's School from Gold Coast. So welcome. So would you like to introduce yourself and maybe the school, a little bit about the school to us first?
Of course, thanks for having us. Happy to be back. It's been a year, but we are back. Happy to be in Hong Kong. So St Hilda's is a all-girls school based on the Gold Coast, 114 years old for girls as young as 4 years old, right up to grade 12, year 12, which is 18. So we have it all, and 188 boarders.
Okay, my name's Katrina. I'm from TSS, the Southport School. I've been there for nearly 20 years, and lucky enough that both my boys went through TSS. Very proud of that. Our school is 125 years old next year. We have 1,700 students, all up from preschool through to grade 12, 320 boarders. So it's a big boarding school, but that's the core and the heart of our school, that we have so many boarders, because a third of the senior school is boarders. Right. So the boys are mixing, and they're very much a part of the school. So everything we do, we have to think of, what are the boarders doing? How can they, well, will they get fed? Will they be able to get to class? Will they be able to do that sporting venture? Or everything revolves around the boarders, and the day boys fit in. So it's just got a nice heart to it.
Right. So comparing to the other Australian schools, quite a big boarding community, both St Hilda's and TSS. So how, and as you mentioned about the how the boarders getting fit and getting around with all the activities, how's the Gold Coast, the community like, and where's the school situated?
Yeah, good question. So we are in Southport in the Gold Coast, which is about an hour from Brisbane, on the beach. So fantastic. And our schools are about 5 minutes apart from each other, so very close. Just far enough away, which is great.
Nice, yeah.
And we have the Southport School is on the river, which is beautiful. And then St Hilda's is about 5 minutes back from that. So, and we are original buildings on the Gold Coast. So we've been there, one of the first buildings in the Gold Coast. So lots of history where we are.
All right.
And TSS, both schools, as you said, they're original buildings, and the newer buildings are complementary to the old buildings. They've honoured the old traditions. A lot of history. We're very proud of the history. So it's the keeper of a lot of history. So if there's something that happens on the Gold Coast, or somebody wants to donate something, they'll quite often come to one of our schools, because they know that we will treasure it and look after it, and our boys and girls will have that respect for it as well. But it's still got all its modern.
That's right.
It's changed. We're not back 125 years ago, but it's very much a modern school as well.
Right. So you just mentioned it's just by the river, so just very close to the river. So what kind of sport activities are really common for the St Hilda's girls and the boys?
Well, rowing, of course, first. So we have a lot of boys that do rowing. That is a big sport at TSS, and we have boys that have gone to England and to the United States with their rowing, and gone to Princeton and Cambridge for after school to study there because of their rowing. So it's a big plus. We also have beautiful fields. We have 50 hectares, and so the boys are doing rugby, soccer, basketball, anything that moves really, balls that, and tennis, of course, and sailing. And sailing is a bonus because we're right on the river.
Right.
Yeah, so we row out of TSS in the winter. So the boys get to row in the summer.
Yeah, the girls are
tougher. The girls are tougher.
Wait,
we row in winter.
Why is the difference?
Great question. I'll tell you. I will tell you why. I will tell you, besides the fact that girls are as tough as men, because boys have been rowing for longer, they chose the season of being summer. Right. So for the girls to fit in around the season, obviously girls started playing sport much later in society. So rowing over at TSS, but we have volleyball, badminton, basketball, gymnastics, swimming, what else? Athletics and tennis. Yeah,
swimming.
We have over 102 co-curricular activities at the school.
120?
Yes,
102.
that's right, 102. So we have so many co-curricular activities. There is no chance for a student to be bored at our school. It's a lot. Yeah, so lots of sport, but sport at St Hilda's is not compulsory. So activities are. So girls have to do something. They don't have to do sport. So they might be interested in drama or music or clubs. They have to do 2 things per semester. That means we're happy that they feel they're getting involved. Sport is very popular. About 80% of our girls play sport, but it's not mandatory.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the girls or the boys, if having all these like options, having a
Exactly.
challenge and
And then-
choosing what to do, right?
It's a great way to make friends.
Exactly, and to fit in, and the chess and debating and
Esports.
proclamation, esports, drone
Yeah.
flying competitions. There's
Robotics.
golf.
Yeah.
The robotics is big. Yes, so there's a lot of things that the boys can get involved in. Again, it's the same as St Hilda's. It's not mandatory, but try and find a boy that's not doing something.
That's right.
Yeah.
As well, because studying, the academic pressure is quite a lot, especially when you get older.
Yeah,
and into
that's
the
right.
older years. And having activities, or not just one, maybe a few, is quite important to having that kind of work-life balance
It is.
in between.
And
We're
studies
proud
will
of
tell you that children who are involved in sport and activities perform better academically. They are spending less time procrastinating on their phones because they have to be organised getting between their sport and their activities. And it also means that they're connecting socially, and happy kids are healthy kids. And that way their academics just come very naturally after that.
Our top academics are usually the top sportsmen as well.
That's right.
And I swear that one of the best tricks of the trade that the boys learn at TSS is time management. They have to be here, there, and everywhere, and they've got leadership roles they have to turn up for. They always turn up for their team and their coach, and so that's a good moral code that they bring with them as well.
As well as responsibility and also...
you do the right thing.
Yeah. So you just mentioned, because both schools have such a long history in Gold Coast, and you both mentioned it's girls' school and boys' school. So I just want to touch on the long time debate topic. So being in a single-sex school, is it better for child education and development, or how do you two have this?
It's a good question, and that's what some people really struggle with. But we are big advocates, obviously. The studies do show that our boys do better than boys academically and in that holistic sense than boys in a co-ed school. So they get better results. They're confident. I think they really have that confidence. They're not having to apologise for being a boy in today's world, but they're also, they can be themselves. Like, as I said, my sons went to the TSS, and I quite often would say, do you mind being in an all-boys school? And they said, no, you can be yourself. And I think that's important. But they have huge respect for
Oh, absolutely. And I can attest to this. When our girls go to visit TSS, the chairs are pulled out for them. The young men will stay standing up until the women sit down. There's a huge respect that you see in this environment. Now, their studies will show that girls perform better in an all-girls environment. So if families ever have 2 children, a boy and a girl, how they parent their daughter is very different to how they parent their son. How we teach boys is very different to how we teach girls. When we're educating our girls, the classrooms are very calm, they're very quiet, they're very structured. Over at TSS, I imagine it's a very different environment to keep the boys engaged. What you'll notice in co-ed schools is girls can be very easily forgotten and left behind because teachers spend a lot of their energy catering for the boys because they're louder and they require a little bit more attention to keep on task. But then the side to that is boys feel like they're constantly doing the wrong thing. That's just who they are because they're always in trouble. So boys are typically always in trouble at school, and girls don't ask questions. They don't put their hand up and ask for clarification because boys take up lots of air in the classroom, we say. They're very busy learners, active learners. So when you have an environment where girls can ask their questions, it means we can empower them. The thing that girls' schools do is empower girls and give them a voice. So it means that when they finish school, they're a lot more confident. But having said that, there is that age-old thing where if you send your child to a single-sex school, how will they ever be able to interact or work with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Now, 5 minutes away, we do a lot of things together.
We do.
Yeah,
We
a lot
do
of things. So particularly the boarding houses. So our boarding houses are catching up mostly every week for something, but on a curriculum level, they catch up as well as socially. So you've got anything from the preps where we have a picnic. That prep is the first year of school. They have a picnic. Right up to year 9 and 10, they're doing dance classes. So there is that mix. But
there's a philosophy club. The girls come over for a reading
That's
club,
right, yeah.
philosophy and things like that. We're involved in the dramas,
Yeah.
the musicals.
so
and
you think you
everything.
can sing and dance? No, sorry, lip sync battle. The
Lip
lip sync
sync
battle.
battle, yeah.
Oh my goodness, debating.
Yes.
We used to do boys versus girls, but the girls kept winning because
girls.
we are.
Yeah.
We
The
are.
boys used to go over there and they thought they were tough and went over and then came back with their tail between their legs. They were just like demolished by the girls. They were
Because
very confident girls. and they
Very
just
confident
nailed
girls.
it.
And girls, parents will know this, girls know how to argue.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but no,
Yes.
essentially, the data will
It's
tell
all
you
with
that
fun.
single sex education is better for children, particularly now, even more so in this day and age, with the access to social media. Children are exposed to things a lot younger than what parents would maybe like them to be. So it means that socially and emotionally, a boy can develop at the age he needs to without it impacting a girl.
Yeah.
And what we find is that boys start getting interested in more adult things earlier. And that means that the girl is not impacted by the boys progressing a little bit earlier. So it means a girl can stay that little bit younger for that little bit longer, which I know all parents would love to hear.
And the other side of the coin is that boys are slower to mature in a
Exactly.
lot of ways,
Yes.
up to 2 years, and they need that space to be silly and dumb and do stupid things. And you know, our classrooms, yes, we understand boys. You know, everything's noise and colour and movement and action, and just keeping them focused on something, and that seems to work. A little bit of competition thrown in as well. Boys will do anything to win something.
yeah.
So we understand boys.
Yeah.
But having that little bit of space that they get that time to catch up and mature without
The pressure from the girls,
The pressure,
exactly.
because the girls can pressure
Absolutely.
equally as well, because the girls are quick with the tongue.
Well, yeah, the girls are very
You know,
quick, yes.
Girls are quick with the tongue, and boys have nowhere to go with that. And
Yeah.
but yeah, then when they're ready and in the right forums, it works really well.
Yeah.
So we make that happen in the nicest possible way.
So you also mentioned your son also went to TSS. So
Yeah.
as a parent, how you see that change or the development from your boys?
Yes,
as well,
I was very much. I saw that happening live. Yeah, and I think I remember my older son, actually saying when he was 17, 18, he said, and he was leaving school, he was finishing and graduating, and he said, I don't feel old enough even to leave and go to university. So. They kind of have that awareness, which is really good. There's the boys are free to speak. They have a language to be able to speak, whereas in a co-ed world they don't share as much.
That's right.
Yeah, whereas
Yeah.
the boys are quite confident to speak up, or if something is happening that they think is not right, they will speak up. It gives them that confidence. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was lovely to watch them. Yeah, but they've left 10 years ago now, so they're on their way. Yes,
But
yes.
still, because I went to a girl boarding school as well.
Did you? Yeah.
So because when I was in Hong Kong, I studied actually in a co-ed primary school, and I thought being in a single-sex environment and doing my high school education in a whole girl environment. But my mom decided to send me to a girl boarding school, which kind of surprised me because as what you just mentioned, it's
Yeah.
less distract in a way because then just focus on yourself.
That's right.
And having all these activities around and option available to you, it's kind of you just really focus on yourself and just
Yeah.
block out
If
everything.
you
all this-
allow the space to do it.
Yeah, and it allows you to just figure out who you are and focus on your studies. Your parents make huge sacrifice to send their child overseas. No parent does that without good solid thought into it, and it's heartbreaking to send your child overseas. So if you know you can do it and have that peace of mind in knowing that your daughter is safe or your son is safe, secure and fully focused on their learning, it means that they can get through their childhood with a full focus on learning and all the rest of it can wait until they're adults.
And to be honest, it's 5 minutes is not too far away.
No,
Exactly right.
No.
Exactly.
And their brothers, sisters.
Yeah.
There's a
We
lot
have
of
siblings
family.
between,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's
So
important
that's nice.
because we have siblings at the schools. It's important to us that parents who are sending their children overseas who have a boy and a girl can feel relaxed in knowing that if you send your children to St Hilda's and TSS, that they will see each other, they will remain in contact, and that might be something that parents are unsure about sending them to different schools because they will separate them. We're 5 minutes away. We can do joint buses to the airports, and we can connect them.
On a Saturday with all the sport that's going on, it might be basketball, it might be soccer, and the girls are over on the sidelines
Cheering.
going, whoa, you know. So that's they're cheering their brother, their brother's friends. They grow up together, and it's just not in the classroom. That's the difference. Yeah.
Especially because parents, as you said, they much prefer to send to siblings to the same school.
That's right.
But in a way of thinking, well, if they send to a separate school, it's kind of allow that independency to develop.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, because it's kind of when you have someone so close to you, you grow up with.
And you can rely on that person, and then
you lean into
exactly,
that.
and that's what the benefit is. But we're the only schools in our region that have a true brother-sister relationship. So we are officially brother-sister school. So some schools might be part of the same diocese or group, but we are true brother-sister.
Right. So also we talk about the academic and the success of the students.
Yes.
So and also all the activities available in both schools.
Yeah, we keep them tired and hungry. We keep them busy.
Yes.
So how's borders life for international students? So if an international student going to the school, what would they expect in the first day of the school?
Yeah,
and
good question.
All these subjects choice available and all these options available. How are they going to navigate through the journey?
Great question.
We buddy up the student straight up. We're a little bit different to you. The boys would get a couple of buddies. They're the same house and they're same year level and everything. But then because they're the new celebrity, everybody wants to know them. Who are you? Where do you come from? What are you good at? And everything. And then over a couple of weeks, it becomes. But they show them all around. We have a very good system of looking after the international students in particular, because everything kind of has to be explained, and that's why it's quite often better to come in year 7, because every boy is kind of new to the senior school, and it's a big intake year. So everything is done right down to what you call us. You know, instead of Mrs. Jones or Mr. Smith, it's ma'am or sir. Yeah. Don't even have to remember our names. Boys, we've got to make it easy for them to not have to remember our names. So, but it means that their conversation is easier then, because if they walk past you, hello ma'am, hello sir, you know, it just opens that that language. So, but yeah, the new students coming into the school, they get a very good orientation. But there's a lot to take in, like food, and we feed the boys 6 times a day. So they've got to navigate all
boys,
that.
yes.
The girls not so much.
Yeah, they need the energy to keep going.
They do.
That's
They
right.
do, but they've got to navigate all that. So with all their friends, they just muck in. They make a lot of friends pretty quickly. So yeah, it's not a problem. So.
It's funny, just before I talk about orientation, we touched on food. We have the same companies that run our foods in the boarding houses, but the focus at TSS is quantity, just lots and lots of food. The focus for the girls is quality in terms of lots of little different tastes, things that they can try. So they don't need huge quantity. Yes, exactly. They're very particular in what they're eating. So it's just funny seeing the difference.
The boys, they want carbs.
Yes.
But protein.
Yes.
Protein. So they're the two main things that they look for.
Girls are a bit different. They're a little bit. We have 4 or 5 different options for meals, and each meal they have. But our orientation program, we have a buddy signed up to look after the girl. Now, girls have in their mind that their buddy is going to be their best friend. It's very unlikely that the buddy that we assign you with will be your best friend, and we know that, but the buddy is designed to make sure that you can find friends, find where you need to go, know the teachers' names, because at St Hilda's we know every teacher's name, but show you where the bathrooms are, how to sign up for sport, where to ask questions for. And then, so for example, if you're a new student, Jade, and you love hockey or you love badminton, we make sure to introduce you to the badminton girls and get you connected that way. So that's the buddy, but you've also got in the boarding house a big sister. So the big sister is a year 12 student, a senior girl that's tasked with being your, big sister or mentor while you're here. So she'll look after you right through that entire year. And then the next girl who's in year 11, when she gets into grade 12, she then becomes your big sister. So that's how it works. But yeah, really strong orientation program, and we check in with the new international students every week. But in boarding schools, you don't have... Everyone coming to boarding is new. Everyone is all moving away from home, whether they're moving from an hour down the road or 8-hour flight or a 15-hour car journey to the western, to the western part of our state. Everyone is new, and it's a cultural adjustment, not only for our international students, but our local boarders. Some of them have never been to a classroom before. Some of them have never studied in a school. They've done School of the Air because they're so remote, and they've never been in an environment where there's 25 children in a room.
Right, because like homeschooling.
Exactly,
and
country.
So our schools were both boarding schools originally. We were boarding schools that grew into day schools. So we have been acclimating and supporting boarders for over 100 years. So it's something that we can do very well, but it's something that I think parents can feel relaxed in knowing that we've been doing this for kids forever. No matter where they're from,
we're pretty good at
everyone is getting used to a new culture. Obviously, international students, it's a new language. It's a new type of food, but it's still, everyone is lost when they first start. But it's easier when everyone else is in the same boat.
I think it's very confronting the day that they go and get the uniform in the uniform shop, because all of a sudden they're wearing a shirt that's different and it's got a crest on the side here, and they don't know the meaning of that yet, but I know that a lot of boys, they go, whoa, this is real.
And wow, I'm part of something
bigger than just
bigger than me. 100 years before me, 100 years after me.
Yes, exactly. And you're really just there to hand on the baton after you finish to the next generation. And it's really becomes profound to them, but they're proud of it, really proud of it.
It is, because being in boarding school environment is quite a unique experience, as you said. It's not just international students, but the local students as well, moving away from home, leaving their parents for the first time. It's all that journey to become a young adult.
That's right.
And having that kind of belongingness and kind of like belong to that community.
Yes, that's right.
In a day school, I can't imagine, like, because
it's not the
same. It's family. You live, you wake up with each other, you eat with each other, you squabble with each other, you fight with each other like sisters. It is family, and they see you in your highest highs and your lowest lows. So you become this brotherhood or this sisterhood.
Very much a brotherhood.
And what you find in all single-sex education is the alumni, the graduates stay so connected. It's not like that in co-ed schools. It's just not. Some schools maybe, but what you see is girls who graduate St Hilda's are friends for life. Same with TSS.
Same with boys, But that is a really good, that networking system post-school is so strong.
It's your future employers. It's everything.
It gives you insight into so many different places that you wouldn't otherwise have. So it's not broadcast, but it's nicely, there is some assurance that you will be looked after in terms of given a chance and mentored. There's a lot of mentoring goes on, so that the boys, they might be thinking about doing law, so they can go and spend time with some old boys of the school that left 5 years ago, 10, 50 years ago, that have run businesses or whatever, and they can go and spend time with them and work out if that's something that they want to do. Maybe they get an internship out of it. Maybe they'll get, an opportunity further down the track many years later.
The community is strong and the community looks after one another.
That's really true.
And as you said, I don't think that's prevalent in co-ed world. It's that single sex thing. It's that creates a family.
It is. Especially in boarding, it's like 24/7. You see everyone.
Exactly. Well, right now there's a cyclone happening on the Gold Coast, but they're tight. They are locked in. We've got girls jumping around on the trampolines in the gymnasium. We've got art classes, club, but they're all going through these pivotal life moments together. And day students miss out on that. They don't have that experience. But it also means that raising a teenager in this day and age is very difficult. And parents, it's hard for them. So having experts who are up to date with the latest research and information on how to support teens and children, having that as a support. So boarding is an extension of parenting. We're not parenting your child. Like, we're not. You are the parent. We're an extension of you. We're assisting you. Having that resource available to you, the experts in how to support children, what an amazing, resource to have.
And that's just a question, because sometimes parents will wonder, because it's such a large boarding community, regardless of the size of the boarding community, but how international students are integrated, or how they mingle with the local students.
Yeah,
so often
good
they were
question.
concerned about being in a boarding school, maybe you're surrounded with most of the international students, which is not the case because they have local boarders as well.
That's right,
But
yeah.
how do they make friends with local students, and how is there any interaction, or it's quite separate? Because
Yeah, good
there's some
question.
kind of concept sometimes a boarding school can be in kind of two different world for boarders and day students.
I think St Hilda's and TSS manage this well, because no matter where the student is from, whether they're from Australia, down the road, or overseas, we enrol students that are going to fit our culture. So they're involved in sport and music and drama, and academically they're sound. So that's the type of St Hilda's girl and TSS boy we enrol.
Yeah.
So no matter where they're from, they're all going to have respect for one another, because we have the same interests, or the same kind of social credit, because you're involved. Now, having said that, of course, when you've come from overseas, it's very natural for you to gravitate towards, people that from your area. It gets exhausting speaking English all day, and it might be nice to take a break and speak some Cantonese with some friends. By all means, that's absolutely fine. But what you'll find is that, because the international students are so involved and ingrained in what St Hilda's is and what TSS is, there is no real segregation, because we're all, no matter where you're from, we're all involved in the same thing.
Yeah.
We do understand that after school in the boarding house, it might be tiring and you'd like to speak your own language. Totally fine. But
Or at lunchtime, when they're all having that type of food, and they're,
Exactly.
sometimes they're liking that sort of food,
Yeah.
which, we cater for in the
Yeah.
dining hall as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Caitlin said, in the interview process, when we're interviewing these students, we want to make sure that they will fit in, and that we will be the right fit for them as a student.
That's right.
And their family. So it's we'll work our questions around. Tell us a little bit more about you. Like what sort of things do you do when you're not at school?
Right.
What turns you on? What makes you excited about things? And if they're talking about, you can see the boy's eyes are light up, because he'll talk about his basketball, or he'll talk about his table tennis, or he'll talk about his drone, or so. Then we know, you're probably a good fit, because you're interacting with other people doing that. That's the beauty of it. You may be competing a little bit. So we want a boy that's got a little bit of that sort of three-dimensional approach to life. And then we know it'll be a good fit. So pretty rare that it doesn't work. But because there's so many choices, as you said.
That's right.
Ridiculous amount of things to keep them involved in something. So...
On occasions, you'll find that girls can click, like they can get their group and they're happy and comfortable in that group. And that's where our staff can recognise when that might be starting, and then we intervene and we get involved and try to, do class placements a certain way, or dormitory placements a certain way. Yeah. And what you'll find is a 15-year-old girl might think that's absolutely terrible that we're splitting her up from her best friend, but in reality, that's the best thing for her. So keeping in mind having a friend is important, but mixing and getting involved in other friends is important as well. But we find that girls and boys who have friends in multiple different groups, it's the best thing you can do for them, because if something happens with one friendship, they have another network. Now, very important with girls. Maybe not so much with the boys. It's very, and this is why single-sex education. This is why single-sex education is so important, when a lot of our pastoral and social and emotional support is going towards making sure girls don't have one best friend. It's very easy for girls to get one best friend. That is unhealthy, because when that friendship falls apart, that child is isolated. So we spend a lot of our time networking with the girls and making sure they're connected, but that's why sport and co-curricular
Yes.
does that for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
With boys, you just throw them a basketball or
And they're
something.
fine. See, it's much more
They're
simple for the
fine.
boys.
They're happy because if they can't help themselves from catching the ball, and then they'll throw it somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it's then you've got a party started, you've got a game started. So it doesn't take long. Yeah.
That wouldn't work at St Hilda's. If I threw a basketball at a child, Miss Barrel.
Yeah, and that's why we understand boys, you understand girls.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of work there.
Okay, so before actually, what you just touched on about interviews. So what you are looking for from the students
Yeah.
when they're interested in TSS or students. So apart from like presenting their passion and their interest, what's the interest area are? So what else are you looking for in prospective
Diligence.
students?
It's a big thing that we rate very highly. The boys are rated all the time on their diligence. Diligence, just a big word for effort, but we have a diligence scale. So you may not, as a student, be able to be a straight A student or even a B plus student. You might not be, as high. You're not going to be a rocket scientist, but you can control your diligence. You can control your aptitude to studies and how much effort you put in. So the boys know, if you asked a boy at TSS what his diligence score was at the moment, like literally on a day, he'll know it's 2.7 or 1.9 or 2.9, which is 3. You don't want to be much too lower than 3. So they know. And if you're in the onesie club, then you get extra pizza and extra food. So the boys so it's motivating.
See, food motivates the boys, not so much the girls.
That they are motivated because of those points that you get for your diligence go towards your house, and your house is everything at TSS. It's very Harry Potter like that.
There's more the competition behind.
Yeah,
Yes,
you've got to
always.
beat your mate's house, and so it's constantly that diligence is woven through the whole school. So as I said, not everybody's going to be a rocket scientist. But if you're putting in your best effort, the headmaster at the moment loves this young gentleman. He's just about to graduate this year. He's from the country. He's a country boarder, so he came in as a little grade 7er. He's not going to get the highest ATAR or anything, but he has the highest diligence in the school, the same as the school captain. And so he will be successful in anything he does in life. Whatever he does, he will be successful. So that's what we are trying, every boy, it doesn't matter what level you are or anything, we want you to come out of there a confident young man and capable of taking on the world. So that's what we focus a lot on in looking at the school reports and ascertaining where the students are a good fit. And you can tell when you're talking to them in an interview as well, whether they're passionate and they want something.
Yeah. Similar to St Hilda's, so we have attendance. School attendance is really important. So where children are not attending school, that's a big concern for us, but children who consistently show up to school, academic results are somewhat important. We need to make sure that they can come to our school and do well, and they're going to feel okay and survive academically, but their attitude towards learning. So use the word diligence, we use attitude towards learning. So are they conscientious in their learning? Are they putting in effort? Now, students who are not, that's a concern because it's a huge investment parents make to send their child overseas, and we may not be the best schools to have someone who doesn't want to be there. And we won't enrol children that do not want to be at our school.
And our curriculum is rigorous.
It's
they've
intense.
got to be prepared to put in that effort.
Exactly,
So-
you have to put it in. Yeah, that's right. In the interview, we like to get to know the girl. Obviously, and same with TSS, it's important to know what motivates a child, what makes them tick, and so that we know we can support them when they get to the school. So seeing a little bit of personality in the interview, we love. I know sometimes children and parents might be very nervous for the interview and only answer questions very strictly. We have a conversation. So we want to know the quirky, funny things about the child. We want to get to know them as a person because if we can understand them, we can get them to wherever they want to be. Yeah.
It's a kind of different style, interview style comparing to Hong Kong because it's kind of very formal, like question-based answer, that kind of feel. But as you mentioned, it's more looking into the personality that
That's
they
right.
are.
And making sure they're fit for
That's
the
right.
school. It's not in the child's best interest if it doesn't work out.
That's
so
right.
we've got to make sure that, that if the family's going to make this decision, that we're all on board and it's going to work out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time today. So thank you so much for joining us. And there's a lot. I think we can just carry on.
I know we can keep on talking.
We're very passionate about our schools. We love our schools.
Right. So if you're interested in TSS and St. Hilda's and studying in Gold Coast or in Australia, feel free to contact us or contact Katrina or Caitlin for more information. So we will see you on the next episode. And thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.